Which team do you trust to go further, the Cowboys or the Chiefs?
Oh, the Chiefs. Chiefs. Road to prosperity is tougher in the NFC than it is in the AFC. AFC's wide open. AFC, Bills, Patriots. Just for talking about that. Chiefs suddenly, I mean, with everything that that's transpired in Kansas City and with how horrible their defense started off, they're in first place. Because the Raiders have nosedived. The Denver Broncos never were really much of anything. And the Chargers inexplicably have been inconsistent. And they have been struggling with their rookie head coach, Brandon Staley. In the AFC North, we know that the Steelers' offense is putrid. We see what has happened to the Cleveland Browns. The Cincinnati Bengals fell off with back-to-back losses. Baltimore Ravens are coming off a loss, and too much is on the shoulders of Lamar Jackson. Tennessee is without Derrick Henry. The rest of the South ain't really much to talk about unless somehow Indianapolis gets to come on strong. AFC is wide open. Dallas might not win a playoff game. I mean, we got Aaron Rodgers there in Green Bay. We got Matthew Stafford in the Los Angeles Rams.
You just said their quarterback's the MVP,
Doesn't matter.
but that's cool.
We was talking about, listen, well, so what? So what, y'all? It's a regular season. We talking about one game this coming Sunday. That's entirely different than talking about Super Bowl competition come playoff time. That's an entirely different conversation. There's nothing wrong. There's nothing inconsistent about what I'm saying. At the end of the day, you look at Aaron Rodgers. You look at Kyler Murray in Arizona, even though they've been struggling as of late. We saw how the Rams got shellacked, but we also understand how potent they are, even though the loss of Robert Woods is devastating in my estimation. You got to pay attention to all of those things.
You need some water. You're losing your voice. I don't know if this is karma right now. So
no, I got a water here. No problem.
You okay?
I
get it. I'm good. Intimidating. I get it.
No, please, please. It must be crazy. Stores, Connecticut. Be quiet. The point is, at the end of the day, the road to prosperity in the NFC is significantly more difficult for any team there than it is in the AFC. That's basically the premise of my point.
All right, couple issues here. It took me 17 years to graduate from UConn, so I'm probably not the smartest person, but I don't understand how you can say it's easier and wide open at the same time. Wide open means that there's multiple teams. Like, there's 8, 9 teams in the AFC that we feel, all right, they could come out of the AFC. How is that an easier road? You could say...
I guess to answer the question directly, I think that there are better teams in the NFC. That's all.
Okay, that's more top-heavy NFC.
Yes.
I will give you that.
Yeah.
I will give you that. I think the Cowboys will go further. They have the best chance to go further. The Kansas City Chiefs don't have one landmark win this year. They don't have one win against a good football team that I say, yep. Molly mentioned they beat the Packers with Jordan Love. The Raiders are a completely different team than they were a month ago. So they don't have one landmark win. If they win this Sunday, then I'll feel a little bit different about them. The difference between the Cowboys and I would say basically everybody in football, the Cowboys offensively can beat you whatever way you want. You want to play coverage, you want to try and stop their run game or their passing game, well, here comes their run game. You want to commit to stopping Zeke, well, here comes their pass game. I don't think there's a team in the NFC that has a better offensive line than the Dallas Cowboys. I don't think there's a team in the AFC who's got a better offensive line than the Dallas Cowboys outside of maybe New England and Indy. Cleveland, part of that conversation as well. So we're talking about a team, offensive line-wise, that is as good as anybody in football. Their skill position players are as good as anybody in football. If we're comparing the two teams, the Cowboys have a better offensive line. The Cowboys have better skill position people. The Cowboys have a better performing defense on every level of the football. The only thing that they might not have is an absolute difference maker in Tyrann Mathieu. So the Cowboys are a much better football team than the Kansas City Chiefs.
Well,
Dan, to Stephen A's point, what about the conference? Because he did make a good point with that.
No, but that's my point about the Dallas Cowboys conference-wise. Like, if you go, okay, if we're looking at the NFC and going, all right, Green Bay Packers, Arizona Cardinals, the Los Angeles Rams. I could point to real flaws of those football teams, and I love them, but I could point to real flaws. The Packers right now have an average offense. We'll see how good their defense is against Minnesota this weekend in their run game. The Rams' interior, their offensive line is bad, and their secondary is not good enough in tackling. Tampa Bay cannot cover or get to the quarterback. If I'm looking Arizona, too dependent on Kyler Murray, and you can pound the football against them. If I'm looking at the Dallas Cowboys, what's their real weakness as a football team? You're going to tell me, well, their defense.
The real weakness is the Cowboys, because here's the reality of the situation. Seriously, I'm not joking when I say this. The more you elevate them, the more they wilt beneath the pressure. That's been their history. We'll see if this year is going to be any different. The fact that they're 7-2, the fact that we could easily see this team going 15-2 or 14-3 and being a number 1 seed with lofty expectations going into the postseason and being under that microscope with their personnel, we could see the Dallas Cowboys crumbling beneath that swarm of pressure because history has shown us that's what they tend to do.
Dan, go ahead, Dan.
Go ahead, Mal. No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, because you're not going to be with us tomorrow, Stephen A will answer this tomorrow, but do you think Dallas is going to beat the brakes off KC?
If Randy Gregory was playing, I would think that Dallas would beat the absolute doors off them. I think it'll be a good football game without Randy. If Micah becomes a difference maker as a pass rusher, I think the Cowboys can handle Kansas City. My question to Stephen A would be this: At what point this season, have you walked away saying Kansas City's a really good football team?
It hasn't happened.
Okay, so you're banking on them flipping the switch at some point because of their past.
I'm banking on them switching,
seeing them play the Raiders helped a little bit.
Because it could come right before the postseason. Like, remember, as awful as they were, we were asked the questions on numerous occasions whether or not Kansas City was going to miss the playoffs. I repeatedly said, no, they're not missing the playoffs. Did I say they were finished in terms of being a team that's going to win the Super Bowl? Yes, they ain't doing that. But I never said they were not going to make the postseason because I always believed they'd get there by default just because of the division they're playing in. And the fact that they have Patrick Mahomes.
I think Kansas City needs this game on Sunday. If Kansas City beats Dallas on Sunday, then I say, yep, they're back. And until I see them do that and perform offensively, I'm not willing to say that.
That's fair.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming, sports, and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.